Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the Bittersweet and Confidence podcast. The podcast where we talk about leaving our comfort zone and the bittersweetness of doing that in order to become the best version of ourselves. In this episode, I will be talking about one of the most important qualities that anyone can cultivate, and that is confidence. Whether you're striving to advance your career, have meaningful relationships, or simply feel good about yourself, confidence is a key factor that can make all the difference. But for many of us, confidence or building confidence can seem like an elusive goal, something that we can't quite grasp. In this episode, I'm going to provide you with practical strategies and tips that you can use to boost your confidence, cultivate unshakable self-belief, and achieve your fullest potential. I'm Joe, and I'm a happy mindset life coach. And I'll be drawing on insights from experts in this field as well as my own personal experiences to give you the tools you need to start building greater confidence today. So if you're ready to take your self-belief and your confidence to the next level, let's dive in. But before we start, as usual, I'm Joe, and I hope you're not comfortable. But if you are, then let's get uncomfortable together. So hi, before we dive into the episode and we talk about everything that I want to talk about, I have a quick favor to ask from you. And it's incredibly simple. It takes a second of your time. Just hit that subscribe button. It will help this podcast immensely, more than you can imagine, because I would like to interview some really cool people for you. And unfortunately, it's a game of numbers, isn't it? So just hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. And you benefit from it as well because you can always see the new episodes when they drop. So, as I said before, we can build confidence. It is not something that is tough. It's not something that's hard. It's just something that requires action, that requires discipline and some work. I'm not going to give you a strategy where you can wake up the next day and be the most confident person on earth. This doesn't work, and if it would work, it wouldn't be sustainable, because in order to build confidence, you need to go through an entire process. There's this book I was reading. It's called The Confidence Gap by the psychotherapist Russ, where he summarizes that lacking confidence has to do with the negative and limiting thoughts and fears that prevent us from achieving our goals. And that makes so much sense. He also says that the confidence gap is the misconception that we can only live happily and fulfilled when we do things that bring us joy, but all of this is only possible once we become confident. Well, that's a paradox, isn't it? Because how am I supposed to become confident if I don't take action, if I don't do the things that I want to do? I cannot become confident. So we live in this loop where we want to be confident, we want to do the things that we want to do, but we always find ourselves limiting ourselves way before we even start. And therefore, our confidence keeps on shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So, what another author says in her book, her name is Jen Sincero, and the book is called You Are a Badass. I'm sure you've heard of it. If not, check it out. Awesome book. And she claims that the reason we often don't go for the things that we want is that our egos, which feel underdeserving of success and happiness, prevent us from doing so. Again, we are not confident because we haven't yet done the things that we want to do. We gain confidence through a series of actions, a series of commitments, a series of proving to ourselves that we are capable of what we want to do. So, we need to understand that our ego limits us from being confident, limits us from stepping outside of our comfort zone, because when it's comfortable, there's nothing to fear. And this way we cannot also grow. Jen Sincero also says something that really resonated with me and with many other people, I'm sure, is that we cannot wait around for our egos to develop confidence and self-love before we pursue our goals. Because the problem with that is that confidence will never come on its own. It will never magically appear in your life. It will not come because we cannot just rid ourselves of the negative thoughts and limiting beliefs that choke our confidence, especially the feeling of fear. Fear is like the biggest catalyst in shrinking our ego, in keeping us where we are. Because we're afraid. And that's a normal thing. Because our brains, they're actually wired to keep us safe. They're actually wired to make sure that we survive. And therefore, fear kicks in every time we want to do something that's uncomfortable, because there's a fear of the unknown. Evolutionary, if we look at it from an evolutionary perspective, that makes sense. Because if a hunter or whatever went out of their comfort zone to find food, it's risky. So fear kicks in. But in today's society, our fears are different. It's not about survival anymore. It's beyond that. So, basically, all we need to understand is that fear and negative and limiting beliefs hold us back from becoming who we could be or fulfilling our fullest potential. And in this episode, as I said, I want to talk and give some tips and tools that help not only me, but many of my clients and many of my friends, and also many people around the world, to improve their self-belief, to increase their self-confidence, and to help them achieve the goals that they set for themselves. There are two different kinds of negative thoughts and beliefs, and this is something that we really need to understand before we dive into the tips. So bear with me for a moment. Those two kinds are internal and external thoughts and feelings. The internal ones, those are the ones where we sell ourselves short, right? For example, and I'm sure everyone went through something like this, where you set yourself expectations and immediately you say, I cannot meet those expectations. And Russ Harris in his book calls these the unsatisfiable expectations. Because we set ourselves expectations that are so high, but we immediately fear pursuing them, that we immediately retreat and say, I cannot meet them. Another example, for example, is I cannot meet these expectations because I'm no good. So the I'm no good, or I don't have the skill set. This is also the negative self-talk that we have, because we haven't tried it yet. And before we even try it, we set ourselves these limits, these limitations of, I'm not good. I'm going to fail at this exam anyways, so why bother? Those are all things that we tell ourselves because we're afraid of the outcome, because we're afraid of putting in work and then failing regardless. But we cannot become confident if we don't take the steps. You cannot be confident for a presentation if you haven't prepared for the presentation, if you haven't actually done your research, if you haven't checked all the boxes, if you haven't created a cool presentation on PowerPoint or whatever, you will not be able to do a good presentation. You will not be confident delivering your presentation because you feel like you didn't put in enough work. But when you put so much work into your presentation that it looks awesome, you're prepared, you have perfect notes, you're going to rock that. And you're going to feel so good about yourself because you know that you're very well prepared. And confidence is exactly like that. The more you feed it with taking actions and preparing and whatever, the more it grows and the more likely you are going to succeed at whatever you want to do. The second kind of thoughts and fears that hold us back are the external thoughts or feelings or fears. And these are the fears that we have when we think about what other people will think about us doing something. And this is immediately a limitation. I understand that also from an evolutionary perspective, we wanted the social approval in order to fit into the tribes, in order to be safe. But we don't need to do that as much today. We are not in tribes. We are not going on hunts. And if you're alone, that doesn't mean that you're going to die. You can still take care of yourself. You can still work. You can still have a job, make money, feed yourself, and whatever and whatnot. So this fear of being laughed at or not accepted by others holds us back so much, and also breaks our confidence. Because every time I want to do something, the first thing I think about is, what will other people think? And I'm gonna give you my personal example. Before I started this podcast, I was hesitating. I was so hesitant. I didn't know if I could ever have a podcast, if I could ever put myself out there on social media, if I could ever speak to a camera, you know? And I found out that, first of all, yes, I had the internal factors of, what if I'm not good enough? I'm not good enough. Or I'm not gonna become the next, I don't know, Joe Rogan or whatever. So I immediately limited myself internally as well. But then the external factor was way bigger for me, because what will my friends think? What will the people think that were in school with me? What will my family think? What will my coworkers think? And I was thinking about what everyone will think. And I started hearing and seeing the negative comments that people are going to leave, or the messages that I'm going to receive from people. I started truly imagining all the bad shit that's going to be said about me. Now, 30 episodes later, none of those expectations came true. None. I got a couple of feedbacks here and there. I got a bit of criticism. I got a bit of hatred, but it didn't even affect me as much as I thought it would. Or to be honest, it didn't affect me at all, because I do my content to inspire this one individual or this group of individuals. If one person doesn't like it, that doesn't change my purpose. It doesn't change my goal. But before, I felt like if I receive any criticism or any hate, I'd go sinking in shame, and I would probably never do anything again. But that's not the case. So we always assume the worst, and I'm going to be talking about this in a bit, but we always assume the worst because we want to protect ourselves and because we want to prepare ourselves. But what this actually does is it keeps us hesitant, and it keeps us scared, and it just keeps us from doing what we want to do. Okay, so I blabbered on about the internal and external factors. Now let me share with you just 5 of the tips on how you can boost your confidence starting today. I'm not saying today, I'm not saying now, I'm not saying you're going to wake up tomorrow a completely confident person, because that doesn't really work this way. It's a journey, and it's probably a lifelong journey, because you always need to work on yourself, work on your confidence, and make sure that you are where you want to be. But using these 5 tips, you will get there as quick as you want, if that makes sense. It depends on how much you actually want to be more confident, and it depends on how disciplined you are by following these tips. Of course, if you enroll in the coaching program with me, we're going to work on way more than those 5. We're going to be able to work on all the factors, all the tips I can give you, and more importantly is we're going to be working on how to find internal happiness regardless of external factors, regardless of circumstance, regardless of how your life is right now. Because I believe that happiness cannot and should not be measured by how successful you are, how wealthy you are, how confident you are, how amazing you are. Happiness is a state. Happiness is something where you're filled with gratitude to be here, to be you. And this is basically what we're going to be working on. If you want to enroll, the link to schedule a free call will be in the description of this episode. Make sure to click it. Have an hour We'll have just an hour. You and I will talk. It's going to cost you exactly 0 cents and 60 minutes of your time. And I promise we're going to have fun. It's going to be nice. And I'm not a salesy coach, so we're going to talk. If you like it, we continue. If you don't like it, I'm glad that we connected, and I'm sure that we're going to be helpful to each other. So yeah, I plugged myself in there. I needed to, because I love connecting with new people and I love coaching. So yeah, back to the 5 points. So number 1, and one of the most critical points that we all oversee when we talk about confidence, is taking care of your physical fitness and appearance. Okay, now someone might be hearing this and saying, oh, fuck you, Joe. Like, how dare you tell me that I need to take care of my appearance? While so many other platforms, magazines, whatever, are just portraying now, which is a trend, that it's okay to wear whatever you like, look however you like, go out however you like. Well, however you like is fine. If you feel like you're presenting yourself the way you want to present yourself, that's good. But, and this is something that I learned from myself, and also a lot of my clients realized, when you put effort into how you present yourself, how you look, how you smell, how you make your hair, or whatever it is. I'm not saying be flawless, because this doesn't exist. I'm saying put effort into presenting yourself the way you would want to present yourself. And be aware, taking care of your physical fitness and appearance is not so you get social acceptance. It has zero to do with that. That is like a side effect. That is something that might or might not happen. But regardless of that, when you take care of yourself, when you put thought into how you want to look today, and you make yourself pretty or handsome or nice, or I don't know, whatever you want to do, however you prepare yourself, you'll feel better once you leave your home. You will feel different. Take it, for example, if you're a man, and as soon as you wear a suit and a tie, your whole posture changes. I don't know if you can really, for ladies, for example, if you wear a very beautiful dress, your entire posture changes. I've never seen a woman in such a beautiful dress coming to a nice event who didn't feel good about herself. I never saw a man feel bad about himself. I'm not saying wear dresses and suits, but I'm just saying when you put thought into how you want to present yourself, everything changes. And for me, through COVID, I lost that entirely. I stopped caring. I started not cutting my hair. I started not shaving my beard. I was like, people will like me the way I am, or they won't. I don't care. And I still don't care. But I realized the shift when I started taking care of how I look. I started appreciating myself more in the mirror. So I'm doing this for me, to feel happy with myself, confident with myself. Okay, point number 2, and this is very, very, very important. Given the name Bittersweet Uncomfiness, this is the most important point. Taking action, or taking actions that scare the shit out of you. And I mean this very, very, very seriously. When you keep doing things that are comfortable to you, when you keep doing the things that are within your circle of comfort, you're not going to advance. You're not going to change. You're not going to feel like you're the baddest on earth. You know why? Because it's easy to do the things that you feel comfortable doing. It's easy to do the things that you really want to do. But what's hard is doing things that you don't feel like doing. But those are the things that might help you grow, that might help you become more confident, because you prove to yourself that you're capable of so much more, that you're willing to change, that you're willing to grow, that you're willing to become this ultimate version of yourself. So whenever something scares you, for example, for me, it was doing a stand-up comedy gig at an open mic. I was terrified. I was really terrified, but I didn't question it twice. I texted the pub and I was like, guys, I would like to have a 7-minute slot. And I went there. I hesitated. I was scared. I was terrified. I was really, really scared because public speaking is not something I can just do on the spot, and especially not comedy. But I got up on the stage and I did my bit. And when I got down from that stage, I felt invincible. I felt like nothing in this world can stop me from becoming who I want to be. And I started doing more of this every day. For example, taking cold showers. I don't like cold water. And no one does. Very few people do. But I started taking cold showers. And every time I go into it, it's so uncomfortable. It's so bad. And I hate it. I hate showers now. It's like the 5 minutes or 3 or 4 or 10 minutes of hell. But once I leave that shower and I dry myself off and I warm my body up again, I look at myself, I'm like, damn, dude. Like, how am I able to always push myself like this? Again, you feel different. You feel strong when you do things that you don't want to do. So take actions that scare the shit out of you. Point number 3 is understanding that your negative thoughts and feelings are not facts, but rather projections that you have due to your past experiences or to your conditioning or your upbringing or whatever. All the negative beliefs, all the negative thoughts, all the thoughts actually, even the positive ones, that just come to you are not yours. They're an accumulation of all the experiences you had, of everything you've ever saw, everything you've ever heard, everything you've ever experienced, witnessed, or whatever. So, once you realize that those thoughts and those feelings are not actually you and you can distance yourself from them, you start changing, you start seeing them in a different light. Now, when I have a negative thought, I watch it. I just watch. I'm interested to know why I have this and what impact could this thought have on me now. For example, when I wanted to do this episode, I had this thought of, who am I to talk about confidence? Those thoughts just come. But then again, I was like, I'm a confident motherfucker. I'm going to do this episode and no one can tell me not to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to post it. And people will like it. And if not, I like it. It's fine. So making sure that you understand that you don't need to identify with your negative thoughts. You don't have to identify with your negative thoughts. They're not you. You decide who you are. You decide what thoughts you want to act up on and which not. And don't act up on the negative ones. Plus, you can't. Once you have a negative thought, it just wants you to retreat and not do shit. So, when you have a negative thought, punch it and go do exactly what you don't want to do. So, talking about point number 2 again. Point number 4, which is awesome for confidence. And I didn't know how great this is until recently. Reading. Read more books. Listen to more podcasts. Watch more documentaries. I don't watch movies or series anymore. None. Zero. I fill my time with books, podcasts, documentaries. And you know why it increases your confidence? Because knowledge is power. And if you are a person who wants to fit into society, the more you know, the more circles, the more groups you're going to be able to enter and talk to. You're not going to be limited with only the things you know. So you can always learn more and you can always gain more knowledge. So by reading, you feel like you know a lot and therefore you're more confident. You can walk up to people and have normal conversations and you can understand people better once you read more. Because you can read, there are billions of books, I think, and you can read about every topic you want. Choose a topic, read. And you can also read novels. You can learn things through novels as well. But focus on also self-improvement, finance, biographies or whatever, things that actually give you tools to help you move forward in your life. I'm plugging my workbook, which is going to be announced very soon. I worked on a workbook where you can basically work on your mindset, find out your values, start having a direction in your life that you want to go through, strengthen your self-belief, your love to yourself and to other people. So if you feel like you want to work on yourself, then this workbook is not going to be plugged in the description because it's not officially out yet. But this is just a small teaser. Soon on Instagram, you're going to be seeing the link for the workbook. Make sure to check it out. I'm going to make it incredibly cheap for everyone. So you can download it as a PDF, print it at a print shop, work on it, or you can just have it on your laptop and work this way, however you like. I like it printed. If you want a printed version, you can contact me and we can figure something out for you. Number 5 of how to boost your confidence is stop comparing yourself to others and be aware of how you talk to yourself. This is crucial. We always lose confidence because we compare ourselves to people who are probably where we want to be, or people who have way more than us, or people who seem to be more perfect than how we are or how we see ourselves on social media or whatever. But there's one thing that we always forget. No matter how perfect they portray their life to be, it doesn't necessarily have to be this way. Point number 1. Point number 2 is, why are we comparing ourselves to them? What for? And if we are comparing ourselves to them, then probably we have a certain competition with this person. If we are in the same niche and we want to do what they're doing, don't compare, but check out how they're doing their things and try to learn from them instead of compare and see that you're not close to where they are and then you go back to being in shame and embarrassed by yourself. Which brings us to being aware of how you talk to yourself. Be aware of how your self-talk is. I've said this before in an episode. You can be your make or break person. And for this episode, I have this example that I want to share with you. Imagine a pro athlete, a tennis player. Okay, imagine Serena Williams. Millions of people believe in Serena Williams. But would Serena Williams win if she wouldn't believe in herself, or if she wouldn't believe that she could win? Fuck no. So I'm sure that she talks to herself in a good way. She builds herself up when she's scared. She doesn't punch herself down, kick herself when she's on the floor. So you need to believe in yourself. You really, really need to believe in yourself. But believing in yourself doesn't come from standing in front of the mirror and chanting, I believe in myself. I'm confident. I love myself. The affirmations do work only when they are backed by actions. So point number 2, take actions that scare you or that are out of your comfort zone in order to believe the affirmations that you do when you try to say that you're more confident or whatever. You need to prove to yourself that you're capable, and then you can internalize it by affirming it. People don't do that. People stand in front of the mirror and they're like, I'm awesome, I'm awesome, I'm awesome. And then they complain that they don't feel awesome. Yeah, well, what did you do to become awesome? What are you doing on a daily basis to feel awesome? And it differs between people. But taking care of your physical and mental fitness and health is crucial. It is very, very crucial. And I'm not kidding. If you don't work on your fitness mentally and physically, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. So, yeah, those are the 5 tips. I hope they were helpful. If you want to know more, make sure to hit me up. We can chat on Instagram. Or do I have any other platforms? You can comment under the video here, or Yeah, I prefer Instagram actually. Just hit me up on Instagram and we can just chat. And if you need anything, I'm always there. A lot of people reach out, and I'm very thankful to everyone who reaches out on Instagram. And I love interacting with you all. It's a blessing for me to be able to share this platform, to be able to share what I want to share through a platform like this. And I'm incredibly thankful for all your support, and for the criticism and feedback and whatever and whatnot. Confidence, as I said, is a journey, and I'm still on it. I'm still improving. I'm becoming more and more confident by a daily basis. And that's what is making life so fun, because I am truly working on myself. So I encourage everyone to do the same. If you need to rewatch this episode, make sure to rewatch it and maybe write down the points that you like, write down the ones that you don't like. And yeah, thank you all very much for listening or watching to today's episode. One last thing I want to tell you is please make sure to donate, support in any way you can to the Syrian and the Turkish people who are in trouble. Like, they really need help, and it's not like they're not asking for it. They're asking for help. There are so many platforms where you can help, where you can share, where you can, even if it's €5 or $5, for you that might not be much, and you might not want to donate such a small amount, but you have no idea what $5 can change right now for a person in Syria or Turkey. So please make sure to support in any way possible, even if it's just clothes that you don't wear anymore. Pack them, take them somewhere where they can transport them there. Let's all be together. Let's forget about politics. Let's forget about prejudices. Let's forget about hate or greed or whatever, and let's just be humans and help each other. I love you all very much, and I'll see you again next week.